Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Frozen Oil, and welcome to the game number 77 recap. Almost there, we're almost to the end of the season, and hopefully some playoff hockey here right away. I want to start this episode off by saying, first of all, I can't believe that the Edmonton Oilers are now underdogs. We basically are being disrespected. There's no other way to say it. I mean, you want to judge our team with basically half of our payroll missing out of the lineup. No Mcdavid, no Draisaitl, no Ekholm. I mean, like, those are our top three players by a landslide, in my opinion, and probably a lot of other people's opinions. And now Craig Button is going public saying he has four teams coming out of the West instead of the Oilers. He's not mentioning the Oilers. He has the Jets favored. He has the Stars favored. He has the Colorado Avalanche favored. And the Vegas Golden Knights. All favored to come out of the West over the Oilers. Also, he has the Los Angeles Kings favored in the first round against the Edmonton Oilers. This is, to me, one of the biggest, honestly, biggest disrespects ever. I mean, we just came off a Game 7 Stanley Cup final. Yes, we made some mistakes in the offseason, that's for sure. We lost a lot of our youth and some of our speed, but I mean, come playoff hockey, all these veteran guys on our teams are going to be going on all cylinders, and it's a completely different season, and our roster was built for the playoffs, not for the regular season. And I just can't believe that the Oilers have become underdogs. But that's the best thing ever for the Oilers. I think that's the best thing ever for the Oilers, because you just took a ton of pressure off of Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, and now we're going into the playoffs as an underdog. Look out. I'm telling you right now, look out, because that is just honestly one of the worst opinions. I mean, if you watch hockey and you know hockey, and I really respect a lot of the stuff Craig Button says over the years, I agree with a lot of his opinions, but to put the Edmonton Oilers on the back burner, especially, I mean, since the Four Nations, we have not been the same team. We were a top team. We were third overall in the NHL, at one point in the season. And I will guarantee you no one was putting four teams ahead of the Oilers in the West. So perfect for us, perfect for all of us Oilers faithful. And yeah, I wanted to start off with that because honestly it blew my mind when I saw that. So now let's get to the game 77 recap here, the Oilers versus the Ducks. And again, we're missing a ton of players, and I thought personally what this reminded me of, and again, I am a long time Oiler fan. What this reminded me of was basically from about 2001 to 2005. 2005 was a lockout year, but from 2001 to 2004, the Oilers finished basically with, 90, just over 90 points. They missed the playoffs. Then again with, I think it was something around 91 or 92 points. They made the playoffs. They were taken out in the first round by Dallas, but they made the playoffs. And then the following year, again, very close to playoff clinching and missed the playoffs. All they were missing in those years was some superstar power. But those teams were loved by the fans, and sold out arenas to go watch them every time because they were a hard-working, grinding bunch. The likes of, Ryan Smith, Sean Horkoff, you name it. Those teams were just a hard-working group full of grit, and all that was missing was some superstar talent to get them over the hump. And what happened? right before the 2006 season begins, the Edmonton Oilers signed in the offseason Chris Pronger and Mike Peca. They bring in Rolison, and look what happens. They go all the way to a Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Finals. If you look at that Anaheim game, their Oilers were... The third period was dominated by the Edmonton Oilers. And we finished with... We'll get to the stats here in a second. We finished with 47 shots. And just... There were moments where just the Oilers were just outworking that Anaheim team, and they just couldn't finish. There was a lot of other issues with refereeing and stuff. We'll get to that, especially when we get to X. So stay tuned for that. But they were just missing some superstar power. So in my eyes, you have that same grit. All of our players are role players. They're complementary players. And you're going to add... Instead of Mike Peca and Chris Pronger, you're going to be adding Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and Matthias Ekholm. That is the nuclear option to any team in the NHL, adding those players. So for you to count the Edmonton Oilers out already from even getting out of the first round is ridiculous to me. And that's what I saw. And that's what I'm going to stick by. I saw that as a very positive sign. And as you know, as long as all those players come back healthy, and now that we are somehow underdogs, I think it's a good thing and good for the Oilers' morale going into these playoffs. So let's quickly switch over and take a look at some stats from NHL.com. Before we do that, I would quickly like to just mention that we have surpassed 700 subscribers, so thanks to all those that have subscribed. It's been awesome doing this. Can't thank you enough for hitting that subscribe button. It's super motivating. We got some awesome stuff coming on the way. We have the Game 7 simulation coming here right away. We have a huge playoff hype video that we worked really hard on. We can't wait to show you that. As well as another playoff trivia episode coming. So some more Oiler content. And obviously, the most important is the playoff game recaps. That's what started Frozen Oil, was basically all the hype behind going into the playoffs last year. I thought they were going to do it. They came up one goal short of bringing home the cup. So we are going to be supporting the Oil big time on this channel. So thanks for tuning in, and thanks to everyone that has subscribed. My only complaint I have is I'm not getting enough comments on this channel. So I advise all of you that have subscribed to the channel, or even if you haven't, if there's something you'd like to comment on regarding the Oilers and some of these recaps, I'd love to see it. So please try to comment if you can, if you have the time to, because that's one of the best things is chatting with all the Oiler fans about some of these games. So please keep that in mind. And let's switch on now to check out some of these stats. So again, we'll take a look at some of these stats. One of the shocking stats here is if you just look at the third period, the Oilers had 24 shots on nets. That's crazy. Sometimes teams don't get that in one game. So I mean, the Oilers finished with 47 shots on goal. Dostal played a great game. I have to mention, if there's any Ducks fans watching this, that goalie is awesome. What a young talent. I see that goalie, his trajectory being really good. He made a lot of great plays. He made a lot of great saves. He made a huge stop on Max Jones. And as well, he made a great play when the Oilers were on the power play and he elected to play the puck instead of freeze it. It was just a smart heads-up play by him. He's a young goaltender, and when you see young goaltenders getting into scrums and making high-risk plays like that, it's a really good sign. So kudos to Dostal for playing yet another. I mean, I hate that it keeps happening against the Oilers, but I mean, 47 shots and only allowing 2 goals. That it's phenomenal. And I also want to shout out Rodriguez finally getting an NHL start. he made some huge stops, and I liked his game. Obviously, still needs to develop a little bit more, but overall, I thought he played a great game. Made some big stops when we needed him, and like I said, had we, had some fortunate bounces and stuff like that go our way, we definitely would have won this game and gave him a win. So it's too bad we couldn't do that for him, but I liked what I saw. Face-offs, 56-43 in favor of the Oilers. They've been doing it all year and continue to do it. Power play, Oilers 0 for 6. Obviously missing Mcdavid and Draisaitl. If they were in this game, that stat would definitely not be a donut there. But they stopped the Anaheim Ducks on their 2 power play opportunities. And, the Oilers should have had even more power plays. We'll get to that again when we get to X. But the refereeing was insane. Some of the missed calls was crazy. And I know everybody's going to say, Oiler fans always complain about the refereeing. But go back and watch the game. Go back and watch the game and let us know what you think. And if you don't think the refs made a lot of missed calls in that game, let us know in the comments. Otherwise, they made a lot of missed calls. Hits 16-10 in favor of the Oilers. Again, would love to see that number a lot higher, especially with the superstars out. But they did out-hit them by 6 hits. Block shots, giveaways, takeaways, all fairly close, so we won't get into too much details there. Henrique opens the scoring with a nice deflection off a point shot from Wallman. Brown could have easily finished that off, but just that guy gets stymied every single time he puts his stick on the puck. It's unbelievable. Hopefully that goes away in the playoffs. Cutter Gauthier had a great game, one of the young studs on the Anaheim Ducks, as well as Leo Carlson there, and many others like Mason McDavid, who I have in my draft myself. They got a bright future, so any Ducks fans watching this, you guys have a bright future, especially if Dostal continues to play the way he plays. Just missing a few players, and I can see the Anaheim Ducks making the playoffs very soon. And Jeff Skinner on a deflection from a Bouchard shot with 4 minutes left in the third to make it 3-2. Bouchard ends up hitting the post. We almost tied this game, and the Oilers were just everywhere. Jack Michaels in the last, I would say, 15 seconds sounded like an ECW wrestling commentator. He was just going nuts. And the Oilers had a great chance to tie the game again. Bouchard hit the post, unfortunately. But the fight was there. The effort was there, especially there in the last 5 minutes of the third period. The Oilers were just dominating, but just could not simply get a puck to go in the net when they needed to. So, again, a lot of things we can rag on for the Oilers to not win this game, but at the same time, once they get their fully healthy lineup in place, winning a game like this would not be an issue, and I don't see it being an issue moving forward. So, having said that, let's switch on over to X here. And like I said, the Edmonton Oilers, a lot of people were chiming in on Bouchard, and he did have a bad game pretty much the first 2 periods. Gets, driven wide and beaten, like healthily beaten by Cutter Gauthier on one of the goals. But the thing about Evan Bouchard is he's a big game performer. And at the end there, he was, in my opinion, the last 5 minutes of the game, he was dominating. He was dominating the game. I know people are going to disagree with me, but that's what I seen, and I'm going to say what I saw. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Yes, he makes a lot of mistakes, but he doesn't make those kind of mistakes typically in the playoffs. And when Evan Bouchard gets upset, that's when I think he plays his best hockey. When he's under pressure and he gets mad. When that happens, that's when the Conn Smythe Trophy conversation, player, which he was last year, actually comes alive. So I'm so looking forward to Evan Bouchard in the playoffs. And then I mean, if he doesn't sign a contract before then, we'll really get to find out if he can continue to be a dominant playoff performer. So let's get to the Oilers faithful on X, and let's throw a quick reminder. We are over 800 followers on X, so thanks to those who have. Great community. You can follow us at Frozen Oil Hockey. So first one here is from Chris at BHV Drift. I truly hope the officials last night at the Oilers versus Ducks heard the Oilers broadcast and Louis' sentiments. Terrible officiating, people injured left and right, and more missed calls than I can count on my two hands. And Louis DeBrusque absolutely unloaded on the refereeing last night. He let them have it. It was so awesome to hear. And deservingly, like, there was the headshot by Gudis to Corey Perry was disgusting. It's a game misconduct for sure at a minimum, a 5-minute major. And as well, there was that forearm to the back as well to Corey Perry, unfortunately. And Corey Perry is a legend in Anaheim. I mean, for that to happen to him against the Ducks, I mean, that's like, you know, that I didn't see that coming. I mean, to me, Corey Perry's on the Mount Rushmore of Anaheim Duck players. I mean, you got your Paul Kariya, you got your Solani, you got your Getzlav, and in my opinion, you know, maybe Niedermayer, but he's definitely on that mountain, in my opinion. And for him to be getting cheap shotted like that against the Ducks, I didn't see that coming. But like I said, a lot of missed calls, and fortunately Perry got the brunt of the most of them. But there were so many in the game, just poorly officiated game, and would have been nice to see some pushback from the Oilers. I mean, Max Jones, that's what you're here for. When that happens, I mean, you got to get out there and do something. That's what you're here for. It can't be Perry doing all that all the time. I mean, he's 40 years old. But, yeah, just a weird game when it comes to that. Next one here from NWO New World Oilers. The Oilers are going to have the ugliest pipeline when 97 and 29 are gone. Pittsburgh-esque, but with no cups. Cats better make sure that before we enter another decade of darkness, we get 2 to 3 cups. And I've been saying this since those offer sheets. Holland traded away 5 years of draft picks. We have no first rounders in our system. We did get a nice one back in Savoy, but I mean, other than, you know, Savoy and basically, you know, a second rounder in Bo Akey, those are our bright stars. We did draft O'Reilly. We traded next year's pick to get that pick. He's looking great, but I mean, other than those 3 guys, there is no one in the system. No one. And that's part of the reason I was so upset by losing those 2 first rounders basically for nothing, is because, I mean, the future is going to come sooner than later, right? Draisaitl's 30 years old. Is he going to be the same player in 5 years? I mean, hopefully, but we need to win some Stanley Cups from now to then. Next one is from World Hockey Report. Oilers fans, chill about Trent Frederic. You didn't trade for him to play in Game 78 when you're starting on the road anyways. And a lot of Oilers fans are upset that we traded for Trent Frederic, gave a second-round draft pick, got money to be retained, gave up more to get that retention, and he basically has not played at all the remainder of this regular season. He got, I think, 7 minutes of ice time in the last game against the Kings and left and re-aggravated his ankle. So there's a lot of upset fans. I don't blame them. But I kind of do agree that, I mean, as long as he's healthy for the playoffs, that's what we got him for, and that's all that matters. But it would be nice to have him in a game like yesterday, so some of that kind of dirty stuff is not happening when his presence is around. Next one from Paul Almeida. Bouchard is having a tough game with and without the puck. 10 million plus this offseason? Question mark. Great question. Been saying it for a while. There are a lot of teams in the NHL that are going to pay Bouchard $10 million. I'll tell you that right now. So Can we sign him for 8? That'd be awesome. Can we get that done? I doubt it. But in my opinion, anything under 10 million, preferably 8 to 8.5 would be great. But who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? And I think a lot of it is going to be based on this playoffs that's coming up. So tough question to answer there. Next one from Dan Polland at Oilers GM2. This is boiling over and you have no one else to blame but the refs. I agree, Louis. Terrible missed calls. Then too scared to call the retaliation. Disappointed no one on the Oilers has gone after Gudas. And I was disappointed too. Like I said, Max Jones, you're there for that reason. You got to step up to the plate there. I mean, at the end of the day, Corey Perry can't be fighting every game. Nurse, maybe he could have came in, but I mean the guys that are going to do that are Kane and Frederick, and they're not in the lineup. And the next guy up is Max Jones, and that's what you're there for. And I don't know how he went missing there. A lot of other veterans on the team too, but I don't know. Who knows? It was unfortunate that there was no pushback. Next one from Oilers, John. Kapanen can't be seeing ice time in the playoffs. He is terrible. Yeah, I love his speeds at times. Just out of nowhere, he'll explode. But I don't know. That if everybody's healthy, it's going to be tough to see who's sitting out and who's playing. I'll tell you that right now. Next one from Dave at Oilers_fan30. Gary Bettman and Colin Campbell need to go. They stand by this quality of officiating. Garbage league refs. That was a bad game. Oiler fans are mad. Next one from Glenn Maw. I don't normally complain about the reffing, but these refs are awful tonight. I agree. Next one from Eric Friesen. Oilers Evan Bouchard joins Paul Coffey as the only defenseman in franchise history to record consecutive 50 assist seasons. And there you go. That's what I mean. I mean, he does stuff offensively that, you know, could possibly, you know, garner a $10 million a year contract. But it does come with a lot of defensive liabilities. At his age right now, he should have been cleaning that part up in his game and kind of understanding that part. Doesn't seem to happen. But like I said, there are a ton of teams that would pay Evan Bouchard $10 million. Next one from Captain Jack. Suspension or fine? And I just wanted to show this because look at this elbow. Oh, that was just looked painful. Looked very painful. Glad Perry was not injured there. Next one from Adam. That was a peak Oilers experience. Bad refs, lots of shots, getting goalie, coming back at the end, only to come up short. Hope will never die. And honestly, can't say it better there, Oilers Adam. What a great comment there. Yeah, that always happens to us, you know. We get the bad end of the stick when it comes to calls. You know, we get tons of shots on net, but the other team's goalie always stands on their head. We almost come back, but we come up short. It's a roller coaster of emotions cheering for this team, but that's Oiler hockey. And honestly, not much more to say other than that. Again, I cannot believe we are underdogs now officially, but hey, take that any day of the week. That's going to do it for today's episode. Thanks so much for watching. And most importantly, go Oilers, go.
Frozen Oil Hockey, the channel you need. Oilers on the ice, unstoppable speed. Chasing the cup, we're going to succeed. With David leading, we're built to exceed.
Frozen Oil Hockey,